Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal at Krondor. Well, it's the start of Chapter 6, and we don't have much to look at the moment, so let me go ahead and... we got one charge left on that ring, so we'll need to look for a suitable replacement at some point, and we're pretty well equipped at this point. Unfortunately, that naphtha makes the same noise as the water dripping in the sewer. And I really should have gotten Goraf some better armor, even with the racial penalty that he takes for using non-elven armor, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, now we can see the glory of the sewers of Krondor. Anyway, you remember the last time we watched the opening movie of Chapter 6 and discovered that Makala, the Serani Great One, who is visiting Midkemia right now, appears to be the source of the titular betrayal, and is the one who has been backing the Dark Elf invasion of the kingdom. And the only clue we have of where Pug has disappeared to, in search of his abducted daughter, is him leaving behind a message that read, "The Book of Macross." Now, there are a couple of ways you can actually solve this mystery in this chapter, and we're going to explore all of them, just for the fun of it and for the points. But the first clue we're given is that Cadila, Pug's wife, did say something about him looking at the sewer grates and saying, "Not all the sheep are in our fold." And those torches don't seem to actually provide any light when you light them up. So, thankfully, we mapped out the greater portion of the sewers already. And nothing in this room here. So, yes, we're going to go first to the place we always go whenever we need an answer in the sewers, to Lim, the boy who guards the entrance. And we should be coming up on him right now. "You're in Malka territory. I advise you to turn about and leave before I'm forced to do you a good bit of harm. Please, if you could just answer a few questions for us, then we'll be out of here." "Questions? The only thing that concerns me is getting the mess from the storm taken care of and getting the spell back on our collective feet. Ordinarily, we don't object to a storm now and then. Cleans the smell out, if you know what I mean. But this storm, it did us a piece, all right. Water come in from the seas and washed a score of us out into the ocean, destroyed our headquarters and ruined our plan to take care of a little local problem. And we almost had him." "Him? Who did you almost have?" "The crawler, that's who. Not that concerns you, anyway. Once he had the upright man out of his way, I guess he decided it was time to come in and claim his prize. We had other ideas, of course. We had a handy little trap baited for him, one such he couldn't refuse. Would have had him scurrying back to the Sunset Isles or whatever else in the Seven Isles he came from. Unfortunately, the weather didn't cooperate with our little plan." "Are any of your mockers magicians?" "Nah, at least none that admits it freely. Sooner cut a magician's throat than let him among us, but if truth be known, we would have welcomed one this past few months. Some of the crawler's men as magic types." I wonder if any of them are grass or air types. Little Pokemon humor there. Very little. Are they? Are any of them left down here?" "Who's to say? We're still picking through our own dead, much less worried about which of them is still here. Large portions of the sewers have collapsed. There's even word that a portion of the seawall collapsed, opened up a new stairwell to a lower level of the sewers." And we can ask him about this thing called the Idol of Lazar. "What do you know about an object called the Idol of Lazar?" "Some sort of kid story, isn't it? About a waltz or whatever that gives you the power of the goddess of death or some such silliness." "Why would anybody be looking for it in Krondor?" "Part of the story, as I remember, has supposedly been hidden away in some deep and secret part of the sewers by this Keshian. What? Something like that, but it's not real. I can guarantee you that. If it existed, the mockers would have found it by now. Unless it was on a level of the sewers that had just been opened up by the storm." Anyway, Goraf said, "I think it's time we left, Owen." "Do what you like, Pony Ears. Just get out of the sewers before somebody starts making meat pie out of you." "Believe me, I have no burning desire to stay down here. I'd for one be quite happy if I never see the underside of Krondor again. Goodbye, Lim, and good luck." Okay, so Lim has nothing new to offer us since we've been back here on a fairly regular basis to clean out the sewers and see what he had in the earlier chapters. But one of the places we can go looking for answers is in the southeast corner of the sewer. They were not alone. Goref's pulse quickened as he saw the lone figure approach, but when it became apparent they were not being attacked, he relaxed a bit, squinted slightly in an attempt to see who was about to join them. "You'll not mock us? Where did you come from?" "Above, from the palace. From Krondor." "From above? Then you're one of Pug's students? He sent you down to help us?" "No." "I don't understand. Why are you here?" "We believe that Duke Pug knows of magicians who are living in the sewers under Krondor, and we need to speak to them about something. Would you know anything about them?" "I have no time for this. I have something that I need to find, and the Mockers are making a thorough search of the sewers. If they find me, I'll be floating in the harbor at dawn." "The Mockers may be looking for you, but they aren't looking for us. If we find what you're looking for, we may be able to prevent your death. In exchange, you answer a few questions for us, and in half an hour you can be on the road to Sarf or Malik's Cross or wherever you want to go." "How do I know you won't have the Thieves' Guild—" Thieves misspelled again. "The Thieves' Guild lying in wait for me?" "You don't, but as you said, without our help you're already as good as dead. As I see it, at least we can give you an option that doesn't end in a grave. Let's help each other. Tell me what you're looking for." "A bronze statue. I believe it's called the Idol of Lazar." "Ha ha!" The crawler heard a legend about a Keshian years ago about this object. It's the initial reason that he started looking for magicians to aid him, and it's reputed to endow the owner with a power over health. The legend has it that the idol was aboard a ship that went down near Krondor, but the crawler believes it was made to dry land, and was eventually buried here when the city was Keshian. "And if we bring you this statue, you'll tell us what we need to know?" "My word, anything you need to know." Okay, well, this is a dead-end sewer here, so we need to go back to where we found a blocked-off entrance to the lower level earlier. Transport through these sewers is strictly prohibited. Official kingdom business only. Swordmaster Corby. Don't think we encountered that little stick before. But yeah, this girl Kat, who we just met, actually goes on to have a bigger role in the Krondor series of novels than she does here. And I thought I remember the pathway. I'll probably speak about this a bit more in the next chapter, but she and a few other characters who we're going to talk to in this chapter get their role expanded in a fairly major way in the Krondor the Betrayal novel. And it's a fascinating difference for how the story here changes in between the game and the book. But I will just note a fascinating bit of trivia that Kat, this girl thief, who will discover her origins in a moment, she later goes on to be the mother of a minor character in the Serpent War series of novels, which followed the Rift War series of novels. But probably best if I discuss that once we get to that point. Owen sniffed the air. Expecting a foul aroma from the lower levels of the sewers, he was pleasantly surprised that it seemed less rank than the sewers through which they had already trudged. "Believe it or not, it smells better down there," he remarked. "Shall we go down and have a look?" "Yes, we shall." And immediately their opponents were surprised. The leader of the small mob screamed orders at his companions, a mix of fear and anger apparent in his voice. Seizing the first strike opportunity, Owen barked several quick orders, and the battle was joined. Yeah, Owen is barking the orders now. I think the logic is that since they're in Kingdom territory, Owen is now the party leader. And Evil Seek did not work on the rogue, oddly enough, I guess because they don't count as evil, but I'm sure Goraf will one-shot this guy with a flame-soaked blade. And this will probably finish this one off. Well, no, maybe not. Okay, probably not trapped. Okay, it was trapped, but we were tough enough to make it. And this gives us another one of those Swords of Lim's Krogma, which we don't have room for. And this rather strange Idol of Lazar uses left 8. The votive idol rested in his hand like a squat, sexless gnome. Rationally, Owen knew that it would take no great effort to crush the leering Ivy figurine, but he would merely have to close his hand. But somehow he felt as if the roles were reversed, if he were in the fragile thing in the statuette's tiny palm. Can affect player statistics. Well, it can, and in fact it does. At the very least, it will. Because the thing about this statue is that it is in fact cursed. And we'll go ahead and let Goraf take this armor. We can get blessed on the way. And yeah, these are very well equipped thugs to have this rather nasty bit of gear on them hanging around the sewers. So you're probably wondering, what's the big deal about this idol? Well, you can actually take it with you in the rest of the game and skip out on giving it to Cat, but it's a bad idea to do so, even though it does have a rather impressive power. And we may not be able to go any further because I have not been quite so resolute about fixing everybody's lockpicking skills as I should have. But I think there's at least one more combat down here that we can engage in, although we probably better rest up first. Yeah, that explosion barely nicked us. And probably have been carrying it upon my person long enough that, okay, it has not started affecting our stats yet, but okay, well, I'm not going to bother trying to show the effects of a statue, but suffice it to say, it is cursed, and if you try carrying it for too long of a time, it will start affecting your stats in a negative way. And we're back head up toward the entrance. Look, unless you want to help us clean this mess down here, I'd shag you behind to get out of here. I'm not the type to kill people, but I don't know many know at the drop of a hat. Oh, sorry. I'm not the type to kill people I don't know at the drop of a hat, but not so many of them are brethren are so agreeably disposed. Get my meaning, split before you get split. Can we at least ask you a few questions? Sounds to me like you just did. What do you want to know? And nothing there. So before we leave town with this statue, we'll go ahead and head back to Cat. I can hear the mockers getting closer. Have you found the Idol of Lazar for me? Aren't you concerned that the crawler will abuse the idol? With it, he might even kill hundreds of people, the prince, or maybe even the king. Are you sure you want to give it to him? I'm counting on his using it. You see, he didn't learn everything there is to know about the idol. The Idol of Lazar does give its owner the power over life, but none of Kimia can be its true owner. Lazar is its owner, and it is but another Islani name for Lim's Krogma, the goddess of death. For any else that lay claim to it, they die within the month. I thought you worked for the crawler. No one works for the crawler. What men surround him do so out of fear or debt, but none for loyalty's sake. I intend to put his plans to ruin, but we don't have time to talk about that now. To the matter of our deal, what do you need to know? Who leads the crawler's magicians? I'm not certain, but I believe it's the Abbot Graves in Malak's Cross. He was known as an exceptional scribe once, and he was trusted with books coming from Starduck until Pug discovered what was happening. So the abbot would have been trusted with transcribing books on magic? All sorts of books. He's the one that found the Idol of Lazar's true nature and relayed the information to me. I think you've told me what I need to know. Thank you, and I wish you well. It always boils down to lesser evils, doesn't it? Perhaps someday our choices won't be so grim. Goodbye, boy, and good luck to you as well. So, yes, Cat is apparently a thief in the employ of the Crawler, who was seeking out this cursed idol as a means of killing him off. And with that, we can be done with the sewers of Krondor once and for all. I think we've learned enough for the time being. Surprise your hasn't popped open. All the knowledge you've got up there to be a wrought genius. Goodbye, Lim. Trying to steal anything you can't carry. So this is one way that we can get a direction. In this case, we are directed to Abbot Graves and Malak's Cross, who apparently had access to several books that were belonged to Starduck and might include this book of Macross that was mentioned. We'll go ahead and swing by the inn first, if only to Bard, and get ourselves an extra 225 gold. And we can once again talk to Nevik in the clearly fake nose. The tax collector looked ill. Slumped on his bench, he gazed into open space, his monocle fogged as his features slackened. Seeing Owen, he seemed to pale somewhat. Please state your business quickly and quietly. I'm incapacitated just now. I'm sorry to interrupt your hangover, sir, but it's very important that we speak to you. Have you seen or spoken to Pug of Starduck in the past few days? He's disappeared from the palace, and we're trying to find where he may have gone or done before he left. It could be that he and I dressed in the Princess Nia's finest gowns and danced with skeletons on the docks, but I don't remember a single detail this last evening. I had a bit too much to drink, I believe, and I'm regretting it with great acuity at the moment. Acuity? Surely you might remember the details, the events, but when you entered the bar... Nothing, not a moment. Mine's as blank as a slate. I don't even remember where it is I mislaid my keys. Maybe if you found your keys, you recall last night's events. That is a reasonable theory, young friend, but I am as in no condition to move. I cannot test your hypothesis. Tell me what they look like, and if we run across them, we will bring them back to you, and then maybe you'll remember. Not so much distinguished from other keys. It has my name etched up on it, is all. Good luck. Take care of yourself, old friend. Old friend, who I have only met while you were getting drunk off your ass in one of the seedier bars in Krondor. Okay, so we have that. We got two shops and a disparaging remark upon the quality of the goods here from Goraf again. Did a decent enough job selling the Goblin sticker, though. Well, we don't have to search too long or far to get Nivik's keys, because the minute we leave Krondor, there's a dead body in the middle of the road with Nivik's key. Cast in brass, the key was unfamiliar, though its size suggested it was made to open a door rather than a chest. On the reverse side was a royal seal, over which were inscribed 3 lines of script. Prop of Nivik, Lord Monster of Finances, Western Realm, Krondor. And doubtlessly, yeah, these rations will be spoiled. But we can go back to Krondor. A few short steps. Return to the inn. So have you found the key that will unlock my past? If you mean if we found your key, the answer is yes. I have it here in my pack. But it might be advisable for you to consult with a solicitor for advice. A solicitor? Why? Where are my keys? We found them on a dead man. He was just outside of Krondor. It looked as though the size of his head had been bashed in with a large blunt weapon. Was he an enemy of yours? If you're suggesting that in my stupor I killed someone, you've lost your senses. I'm not violent when I'm drunk, and in fact I tend to fall to unconsciousness even after a few tankards of ale. I am starting to recall a few things about my episode, shall we call it. I remember a man who came into the Rainbow Parrot and offered me a drink, and then it seems I followed him somewhere. Outside of town, perhaps? Where you killed him. No, where he offered me more to drink, and then he took me someplace else. Or did his friend take me there? And then, after that, everything's still a blank. So these strangers got you drunk and stole your key. Does your house key open any locks other than your house? Yes, it opens the locks to my correspondence office in Eggley. The prince had my keys made especially so I could have access to any of the Kingdom's treasury offices. Mind if we borrow this key for a while? I want to test a theory. Be my guest, anything to help my own cause. I'd really like to get this cleared up. We'll do what we can, thanks. Okay, so the only lead we have on what we can do with this key is a treasury office in Eggley. And if that seems somewhat familiar, well, remember how there was an office in Eggley, a little building we could never get into? Yeah, that's the one. And that is where we shall head for next time. We will see you then.